We'll stand up, do an invocation by Vice Mayor Tom Reed.
Good morning. Heavenly Father, we come before you to give you honor and praise. We thank you for the opportunity to come together this morning. We ask for your hand of blessing on this meeting. We would have you guide and direct this meeting so that it's full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. As everyone is pleased, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, and Carly, if you can call the roll call, please.
Neidinger.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Thompson. Reed.
Here.
Penny.
Here. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This morning we're conducting an agenda meeting immediately followed by an administrative workshop. We're just going to review the proposed agenda items for the Tuesday, August 29th meeting. Let's see, our first thing we're going to have that day is the public hearing, which will be a consideration of application for an amendment to previously approved special exception from Causeway Village MHC LLC at 1375 Pasadena Avenue South, South Pasadena, Florida. The next we'll move on will be the consent agenda, and these will be the minutes from June and July meetings. And under new business, we have a ordinance number 2023-04, which is the ordinance of the City of South Pasadena, Florida, adopting fiscal year 2023 to 24 budget and providing an effective date, and this is only the first reading for that. Our next item we'll talk about next week will be the resolution number 2023-06, and that's a resolution of the City of South Pasadena, Florida, appointing the Sheriff of Pinellas County as the police department of the city. And this will be for the period of October 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2024. And lastly, we'll have a motion, and this will be to approve the Emergency Medical Services ALS First Responder Agreement. This is amendment number 1. It looks like we're going to be reviewing that at the workshop today. So is any questions or objections to any of these items from anyone this morning? Seeing none, and the agenda is set, and we will adjourn this meeting and move on to our next. Call this meeting to order. Carly, if you can do a roll call once again.
Neidinger.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Thompson. Reed.
Here.
Penny.
Here. All right. It looks like our first item is going to be department head reports, and let's start off with Public Works.
Welcome back.
Good to be back. Sneaking in here late at night to do things is just crazy.
Trying, ready to put Christmas stuff up already. That's not even funny.
Yeah, I know.
But there's a lot, and it's gonna look good when it's done. Well, I take it y'all read it. Any questions?
You guys are working on some, with the sheriff department, with some park codes?
Yeah, with, we actually, me and Carly and Chief have a, meeting, was that Friday, right? Just,
Just
for
kind of,
some language,
Okay.
you know,
Something to help cut back on anything.
because
that's going on or
they're,
whatever.
they're the ones that, have to enforce it, so, it was Carly's idea, it's like they
Give the
probably
sheriff a
get
little
them
more
involved.
authority when they're in there.
And
that
just
sort of
with the
thing.
proper wording, with, what they would think, and then,
Authority to do what?
No, the proper wording for,
Enforcement.
for enforcement,
We're
you know,
having
he's,
some issues with use of the parks.
Yeah.
And so our current codes and signage does not give enough specific authority to the sheriff's office and to our staff to be able to enforce things. So we're gonna try to add a little bit of teeth. And we wanna make sure that we word it in a way that works best for the sheriff's department.
Yeah, speaking of parks, as I was coming in this morning, I noticed a resident or something moving into the park out across from Bay Island. I mean, they had the big cart of their stuff and they were
Really?
going over and they was out looking for a seat.
there's a lady, she goes out there and sits there every day, and then she's gone. Yeah,
She's not living out there in the park?
no,
She just stays there during the
she's
day.
there during the day. I mean, I've seen her halfway down Central Avenue, down towards, downtown.
Well, now that you've cleared it all out,
Yeah,
it's hard to hide.
And we have a good rapport with, FDOT, their maintenance group. So, a phone call, hey, there's people at the bridges and all that. And if not that day, the next day they're out, and they're, they're really, really good, the group that they have for their,
She sits out there all day in this heat.
I know it.
Bless her heart.
Yep. No, yeah, but yeah, she's gone. There's nobody stays there during the night. And I know, Tony's been doing a good job with, just, cause he's out everywhere 100 times a day, and he's actually talks with the sheriff, say, hey, preventative maintenance, here's, you might wanna go check this out, so we, so hopefully, they get tired of, being bothered and, move on.
I see in 6 days, we're gonna resurface the tennis courts.
Yes, well, weather permitting, if, with the weather, fine, don't get no rain, and now we're getting rain, so but it's on the book, so hopefully here pretty soon that, that will start. That's the game plan, though, is next week.
All right, and, Christmas lights, middle of September.
Right.
Yes.
Still not funny.
Christmas.
We're gonna
Yeah,
have them up before Walmart does.
That's almost like,
probably not. We're gonna start before
Christmas
then,
lights in September is like all the Halloween stuff I'm starting to see,
right?
in August.
Been
right?
out there a month.
Right?
No, it's the first of August, it's for the Halloween stuff.
Yeah, so, and I guess a bird flew into the window.
That one, yeah. Whacked that window
Amazing.
good and just, it was just,
Hey, we've had
it was,
that happen too.
They fly into the windows all the time.
yeah,
They
it was,
just don't break
like a
them.
pigeon, that's why I asked,
They hit it hard.
Casey picked it up, and he said, it's not huge, but it was a pigeon, bigger than a dove, but, yeah, he said it just and then just split, the window, the
Scared
film.
us. We had one hit our window, and then he was like laying out there dead, laying on his side, and I was getting ready to shovel him and get rid of him, and he said, just let him sit there for a minute, and he came back and flew away. But he hit that window hard.
Yeah, this one, he not so lucky. He didn't
I was
make it.
just gonna pitch him into the Gulf of Mexico.
Ripples are not in their DNA.
Right.
But, yeah, so, yeah, that's completed.
I saw that.
What was the problem with the west side door downstairs?
Oh,
The lock or something?
No, it was
Just
just shimmy, age, they got it, that's gonna be something in
Yeah,
the future for,
not just normal weather change, swelling and stuff.
yeah, well,
just
it's
more-
still a 1970 aluminum door, and,
God.
don't know if really if somebody hung on it or not, it's just kinda hard to, but we had a door company come out and they kinda, they got it kinda shimmy back, so it is back working.
Gotcha. Okay, but it might have to be replaced anyway, it looks like a,
Probably, and, we'll, probably the latter part of the year next year, because I'll get with Carly, because they're gonna do, we was talking about doing maybe some kind of swipe things like the fire station or whatever, so that, you know, that might be a time if we have to redo the doors, then
Yeah,
You know.
looking into that. Okay, okay.
it'll be on the future list to be done.
Yeah, and you're starting the addition at the shop in September as well.
Yes, yeah, yep, he's supposed to, I think all he was waiting on was, a sign off from the engineer, and then he'll get his stuff to Terry. And then that was, you know, that was the plan, to start that, get this part done, and then move into the new budget where we have, you know, the rest of the monies, and then, finish up.
Gotcha. Now, I noticed that on the benches, that some of the bolts are already, what are they? getting
Rusting and,
out?
yeah, just especially the ones like, well, the one over here.
That's mine
And
then.
just- I know, well, it's like, and just the ones that the sprinklers hit,
I want
you know, that
stainless
reclaim
steel
water.
bolts on my bed.
The other benches too, the old benches and things, or?
Well, the old benches.
Well, they were really
big-
bolted down, were they? They were
big
concrete, right?
ones, so, yeah, and then the heavy green ones, so, yeah, we never had to
Are these
bolt
like a
those
stainless
down.
steel bolt we're using those?
They were just the galvanized.
Just to galvanize?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would still be good, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get water
Stainless
constantly on
steel.
it, then over here you get the flooding.
When it's, yeah,
Saltwater.
yep, and, you know, like, and then we'll be painting the bottoms, and then if we have to start replacing, we will look into, aluminum bottoms where, you know, we don't have that issue no more, and then stainless bolts.
And then, of course, good news, it looks like we might be moving forward on the kayak launch for the community.
Yes,
See how that goes.
Yes, I spoke with Edge Marine to get a drawing, and there's two on this. There's two choices. You know, straight out or come out and do a 90. I spoke with Terry yesterday or day before about, because they had it were railings all the way out. Well, once you're over water, you don't have to have railings. You know, we just have like a little kick plate on the bottom, so that will save a lot of money. Then we might actually be able to go out further, you know, because I mean, you know, over here, if there's a good tide, you're gonna walk off the end of that and drag your kayak for 30 feet before you hit water, you know, or coming back, you know, but, you know, might be able to get further out there. But once, and here, you guys can look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that, and I will give
So
you a copy.
with the L shape, it looks like there's actually like a little platform corner area where people could just stand and even fish or whatever. So if you can get,
And-
if you get the line out far enough.
There for
yeah.
people, like,
No, it'll just be
Just
the
go-
dock, yeah, and I spoke with, that was Edge Marine, and they recommended not like a kayak. He said, because he's put a lot of them in and removed a lot of them, you know, he said almost more like a liability, because a lot of people just don't get it.
The launch itself, you mean? I
Mhm.
think?
So, you know, and again, here, I mean, you're gonna step out into no water, or, you know, maybe this much water, unless you're on that full moon, you know, high tide, or new moon, high tide,
So
you
will
know.
high tide come up over the dock?
No, not the dock,
No.
no, it'll be, that'll be high enough, yeah.
So that, in the picture, that one thing at the end, is that like little steps going down?
Mm-hmm,
Okay, so that would be there no matter which configuration they did.
mm-hmm, yeah, they'll still, yeah,
So they could get down into the water.
exactly, and then hopefully if they can just get in the kayak or drag it a little bit, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Is there a
one,
liability issue? Anybody? Like if somebody falls or cracks their head on the dock, or?
I guess
There's
it-
a man, yeah.
I guess it wouldn't be as much as walking down the sidewalk and tripping.
City property, you're not maintaining it, there's always a potential liability, but
Well, I mean, not even maintaining it, just somebody hurting themselves on going down or coming up, or, I don't know.
it's less as long as it's maintained. Let's put it that way.
That it will be.
Brand new.
Well, brand new stainless bolts and, you know,
Yeah.
already installed in
nonsense
this.
stuff on the stairs.
Yeah, well, it'll all be that, you know, that,
Composite
the
wood.
good composite stuff, yeah, but definitely. You know, so that would just, you know, once, that is okayed, you know, and then we can move forward, because it has to go through Swift Mud and FDEP and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it takes
You
a
know,
long
so
while.
and they probably have to come out and watch us trim the mangroves before.
Army Corps gotta get involved and everything too.
Are there mangroves there?
Yeah, because we're gonna come through right over
Oh.
here. You know, I mean, that was their idea, so that's allowed to be done to
Okay,
trim down.
yeah.
Because I already had a meeting with them, because we
Yeah,
were
we
talking
talked
about,
about
you know,
that.
pulling them out, and they said, no, but you can cut him down to almost nothing. It was like, okay, sold, you know. I just figured he was a good car salesman. I was like, so I like your idea better.
For the area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, well, I don't really have anything else. Anybody else have any questions of Sean? Sean, you got something you want?
Yeah, I just have, this, it's grant stuff. For this year, it's a, it's actually, I kind of dropped the ball on that one. I wanted to start this months ago, but it just totally forgot about it. But, it's free. We can apply for it. You know, it doesn't cost us anything. The engineer, at Advanced, they're gonna fill out the paperwork and stuff at no cost for us. And if we apply for this, if we do get the grant, it's a, then it'll pay 100% for our, vulnerability study. So what, you know, that was 100, the whole study, there's 2 of them, but the whole study was like 175,000. We will get every penny of that back. And then what that does is open the door for, the Resilient Florida program, where we are eligible to get grants. Without having a study done, we can't get the grants through that. You know, so it's just the, you know, formality of, you know, you guys agreeing, and then just, you know, we'll have them fill out the paperwork, and, you know, if we get it, then we'll put the monies in for fiscal year 2025, and then, you know, as we use it, we'll get it all back.
For consensus to go forward with to apply for the grant?
Yeah.
Is that all we need, is just consensus, Carla?
I believe so.
Okay. Everybody, that sounds good?
I mean,
All for free money.
Free money?
Free money
yeah,
works.
and then the grants through Resilient Florida, you know, they pay 50%. You know, so like, because Sunset, you know, is going to be a project, you know, that's going to have to be done here in the next handful of years. So, you know, if it's, say it's a $4 million job, they'll pay for 2 of it
Sunset.
here.
Oh, this road.
Yeah. You know, because we got to do something, and that'll be probably a joint project with City of St. Pete on the end, because I have to get with them, because half of that, you know, one of those 48-inch lines are there. So, you know, plus that'll be a cost saving right there anyway, because they'll be paying for half of that, and then our half will get cut in half.
That'd be great.
Sounds like a lot of halves.
Sounds like
Sounds good.
half and half.
Half and half.
Get that money, get it fixed.
Okay,
Help
all
pay
right.
for it. All right, let's go to Jim. Let's do some finance stuff.
Right. Well, thank you all.
Appreciate you guys leaving some of that caffeine for us when we got back.
Wasn't sure about the watermelon.
Not bad, though.
Yeah.
Just looking through, looks like we've earned some interest on some of that money already, 147,000.
I guess the high point on here is just to recap. We had a resolution that allowed us to go back before we got the bond to get reimbursed for some expenses. I talked with the attorneys, gave her a schedule, and we came up with $815,455. So I just transferred that on August 15th out of the SBA bond fund and moved it over to our checking, and then subsequent to that, I moved $580,000 to Wells Fargo Securities just to get it out of the SBA. I was looking to diversify a little bit. We have a lot of money in the SBA right now, so.
Yeah.
Don't want to get caught with too much sitting there. So I did transfer that. The bulk of that was for the purchase of the land for the fire station, to $711,000. The 815 included just about everything prior to the bond issue, except you could only go back 6 months on attorney's fees, so we lost some attorney's fees for Gray Robinson for the pre-construction. We did go back 6 months on that, so.
And looks like you want us to add the, Ed Schatzel for the audit.
Yeah, I'd like to add him to the 829 agenda for commission approval. Peter agreed to do the audit for $24,000, which is the same as It's been for the last 4 years, I think. And it would save us a lot of headache right now, because
So
under.
he didn't increase his fee.
He did not, but he, in addition to that, because we got that American Rescue Plan Act, we have to do another engagement. It's a non-ad test engagement, it's not part of the audit, so there's a little extra fee there for that. But he agreed to do that for $24,000 one more year. I mean, he said, I really I have to increase it, but it saves us, we'd have to go out right now, and I think I talked with you a couple months ago about the new process, and from what I see, the new process, you would have to go out, RFP, pick about 3 different firms, get together, interview them, and so it would be a very timely process, so I think this is the positive way to go right now, and we'll start looking, getting an RFP together, coming up with a policy. We have to really have to come up with a policy, like who's gonna be on the committee and all that stuff.
So the 24, are you saying it does include the non-audit engagement, or that's an
It does-
additional fee?
It does not.
Okay.
There's an additional fee, and for 2024, it's gonna be $3,200,
Okay.
so.
Okay. I guess, yeah, we need to add that to the agenda, then let's get that taken care of.
Yeah, they did just complete the audit. Peter's coming in later today to give me the paper copies of the audit. All the electronic copies have been sent to the Auditor General and the Florida Department of Financial Services. When he comes in, we'll probably get with Carly and set up a time for him to present the audit to y'all, so.
Let's see. And I guess we're done with the ARPA funding. It's all,
Yeah, basically, we've utilized all those funds, $2,531,000, almost $600 there. So that's been paid out, and report's not due till March, so we'll have to do that in March.
that'll be the last report then.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
then
good.
that's what they have to do, their non-ad test engagement, to basically tell them we follow procedures.
That's right. We did well. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Jim? Jim, anything else you need to bring up to us?
The only thing I saw in the preliminary financial study, just FYI, Capital Projects Fund, you see revenues, $12,922,000. I just wanted to mention to y'all that includes our loan proceeds of $9.9 million. And we also recognize the revenue for the American Rescue Plan funding that took place this year, which was $1,984,000. Can be a little misleading. Typically, in business, loan proceeds aren't considered a revenue.
Yeah. All right.
So I just wanted to point that out. If you back those 2 items out, your revenue is really about $1,037,000, so,
Okay, makes a little more sense.
okay.
All right. Okay, let's go to public safety. Good morning. Wow, he's got a,
This was not in my report, but Friday, Walmart did a grand reopening. They asked for truck 20 to do a kind of touch a truck, so they went over there at 98 for an hour. So they provided us with a
When did they do
promissory
that?
check around 9:30.
Okay, we were there, Linda and I were there, and they had a check for Gulfport Fire.
So
And we said, good luck getting Gulfport to come to your fire.
yeah.
we would all come, yeah. So
Everybody would come.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Jim, they promised that an actual check would be mailed, so I don't think we could do anything with this, right?
I love it to fit the
They got
slot.
to go at 9:30, I had to be there at 8 o'clock.
So what do you guys do with something like that? Just divide it among the 3 shifts to get lunch and dinner?
That would go to Jim.
Oh, it goes to Jim. Oh,
Oh,
What do you do with it, Jim?
No, no lunch or anything?
stock that
Oh, my
refrigerator,
God.
you know?
Jim and I agreed we'd pay off the fire station with that.
There you go, that's right. Add a few more zeros, we gotta take care of it. All right,
A lot going on. One thing I didn't put in here, I'm waiting for pictures, and I want to put it in the next report, but we did sell Engine 20,
Oh, you did?
the 2001 Sutphen pumper. It was sold to a company called Global Carolina, who's taking it to Mexico.
How much did we get?
10,000. So once it gets there, they promised that they would send pictures. He said usually the small towns will do like a parade and everything, so I'm hoping to get some good photos from that.
Let's go to Mexico to be there.
We get to go to the parade?
yeah,
Come on.
I know that.
I love,
not a commission event.
Oh, good.
So we thank you for the offer of the hiring bonus. We've brought one on board, and we have one working through the onboarding process right now. We're thinking maybe next week. So our first firefighter paramedic, Bruno Levy, comes to us with prior experience in both Polk County and Kissimmee. So he'll come on board as a firefighter paramedic. And then Michael McKenzie will come on board as a firefighter EMT, and he will be our first employee that we send through paramedic school. He has signed the contract to do that, so we will work through that here in the near future. But excited to have them both.
so is he on board already?
He's not. He's this week. He completed his physical yesterday. I think he has his psych eval this week.
Oh, good. But Bruno's here.
Yes, he started on the 10th, August 10th. Yep,
Great.
yep.
Well, that's great.
How's the Mobilize thing working out for you guys?
It's good. The biggest thing we had was when we went with Mobilize, the iPad version was in beta testing. So we were, I think, one of 3 departments that worked through the beta testing on an iPad.
Right.
Because it's a Windows-based system. And we've done a lot of work on that, so it seems to be working well. I tell you what, having it on a computer and being able to pull up previous inspection reports and not going to a paper file is a tremendous help.
Yeah, I know on my end, we just had Seminole do us, and they've got the Mobilize. And instead of getting like a single report for like all my buildings, it was like all these individual reports. I had to click on a link, and then I had to go in and put in a password, then I had to print it out, and I had to go back and do another one, and another one, and another one. It was just, I was kept thinking, why couldn't they just put the community on one and just show by address or building instead of having to print out all these different reports? But it just might be the way the Mobilize is set up. You might not have a choice in that, I'm not sure.
No, we set it up so for our businesses, we would actually, it automatically emails a PDF. So you should not have to click on a link if you're one of our businesses. You actually get, and I can choose whether it's full report or condensed report. Usually for that, we send the condensed report, and then if they want the full report, they can ask. But it'll tell you if you failed. It's a 1-page PDF. Violations, when they're to be corrected by, and when we'll be back out for reinspection. So
Yeah.
it's automatic PDF linked to an email.
And well, maybe it was just because of all the different buildings within the condominium complex that maybe that was why I got all these separate things. But like I said, there was no PDF, so that might just be the way Seminole set theirs up. Because I guess each department can do a different thing or flip a different switch on the software to.
It's possible, and like I said, we're one of the few that are using it on the Apple system, so there may be a difference there. And you do want, if the buildings are separated, you do want to treat each one as an individual inspection. Does that make sense? Now,
Yeah.
could they bulk email them? Possible, but
Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
was-
let them answer
That's
that.
right, yeah. That's the complaint I'll have with them.
They are paying me no money to do that, so. But yeah, we are on track, doing good with Mobilize, as you guys see there in the report. Chateau Tower asked us to come out and do a fire extinguisher training, and it was very good. So I'd like to, I'll hit some other communities up if they would like that. They had their board and their staff attend. It takes about an hour to 90 minutes, and it was, in case they have to, fire extinguishers are everywhere by code, but some people, it seemed like this was their first time of actually learning how to use it, so that was valuable. And there's our little blurb about the $750 check.
Yeah.
Crime reports are attached. Response time reliability report, real proud of that. Where rescue was up to 97.55% compliance, and truck was 100% compliance on 100 calls during that 3-month period. So we had our auto aid partners really getting those numbers up to 100% too. So that was good to see. Working with Carly, myself, and Sean are working with a company called Guardian Grant Advisors to push this City Hall generator project, getting it by the deadline, which I believe is August 29th. So I just got an email this morning. They should have that application done today. They're either going to submit it this afternoon or tomorrow. They want to meet with me this afternoon just to go over a couple things before they put it in. We did go ahead and agree that there could be some costs with this company if we did not get the grant. So they've done some preliminary pro bono? Is that the correct word?
Pro bono's free.
Yes, some
Yeah.
free work. What they wanted to do before the project started was they sent a letter of intent to Florida Department of Emergency Management to say, here's what we'd like to submit. Would this be eligible? Because it wasn't a fire station, a hospital, police station, those almost automatic guarantees. Being a city hall complex, it was a little different. Submitted why, with our server being here, with this being one of the only 3 public buildings in the city, we could use it as a FEMA base, we could use it as a air-conditioned shelter for our citizens, etc. The state said, yeah, we like that, go ahead and submit. So with that being said, we're going to sign a contract that says a cost not to exceed $5,000. So if they were to submit all this and then it doesn't happen, we could owe them up to $5,000, up to and including any work with the advanced engineering to get exact specs on the project. Because it is going to be a little bit interesting, an elevated generator and a flood-proofed electric room. So there's some engineering components there. Now, if we are successful, which looking at the way we were ranked in the LMS and the amount of money that was allotted to Pinellas County for Hurricane Ian, we think we have a good chance because of where we are on the list. There's 2 very big projects ahead of us, millions of dollars. So what happens if one of those gets funded, there's not enough left for the other big ones, so they start going to smaller ones. So that's what we're looking at. And then, if so, then the grant management is part of the grant process, and they are funded through the grant. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to keep you guys up to speed because that is moving very quickly.
Some action down there on some boats.
We get a lot of unhappy citizens with the boats, right?
Oh, yeah.
We work with the sheriff. They are doing what they can based on state statute. I just saw another email this week where one of our citizens basically told us to reference our own city code. Why aren't we doing that? But even the code does mention the state statute, right, in our city code, if I'm reading that right. So it's not like they can just go out there with a complaint and haul a boat away. There's steps they have to take, and they have to do it by law. This one boat in particular here that came against the seawall, it is with a judge waiting for adjudication. So there was, the process is in place. It just certain components take time. So
That boat's been a problem for a long time.
they
Well,
all.
that boat was hauled out.
So with it,
When the sheriffs came, they boarded the boat and did a thorough, because it's right behind my house.
yeah.
Did a thorough investigation. Next thing, they lashed it at the side of the sheriff's boat and off it went under the bridge and everything.
I noticed it wasn't there after I had read this.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, it was taken out of there. So whether it shows that back up is another story.
I know a lot of work was done last time about talking about what you can do, what we can do about those boats. Just a question I have Is there any way where either the sheriff or FWC can force these boat owners to have clean-out contracts with those clean-out people, or they just get to dump their stuff into the water and nobody cares?
So we
Because they're
actually-
not moving.
We actually have this on, tentatively on the agenda for discussion on September 5th.
Okay.
Because we got some questions that were sent over legal as well, so they're looking into it and it's scheduled for discussion,
Okay, great.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I just didn't know who would be responsible for making that happen or enforcing it. It's not really a city.
The enforcing part would be the hardest part.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if they had, I guess they can just do whatever they want and dump whatever they want in
I
the
think
water
Madeira
there.
Beach tried that, when they had theirs, they had to have them tagged, they had to go to their place to get them pumped out. And somehow I think all that's kind of gone to the
Well,
wayside.
they do have these companies that come right to your boat, but you have to pay for that. But I mean, you could, I'd like to see a requirement to do that, you know, that,
Oh, no, it's a good idea, just,
where they have a sticker on the window. That's, I think
Something.
they're doing some of that in Gulfport.
yeah.
But anyway, good, we'll have a discussion on it.
Remember, Gulfport has a mooring field also.
Yeah, I know they do.
Required, my understanding is to be,
Well, that's one of the things that are a requirement of that.
They have their own police department who kind of does things their way, so.
But they still have the same issue, even by the mooring field. They've got sailboats all over the place that aren't even tied on a mooring boat, yeah.
Right, okay.
Would there be any advantage for us making a mooring field out there with one mooring so we could do it?
I don't think we can.
I think
Yeah.
we kicked that around
I've read
briefly,
about that once.
and it was like a
Just-
mooring field has to be based on the size of the
Yeah,
water.
from what I understand, the layout of it, the water flow, the shape, the size, we
Yeah.
can't, I don't think we can. So,
I think that'd be a Moorfield, Commissioner
If they have
Thomas.
a fire on one of those boats, who goes? If they have, like, a boat catches fire.
Sure. So with the automatic aid agreement, we would go as a land apparatus, but St. Pete Beach Fireboat through automatic aid would respond. So would Levin from St. Pete. We have run cards built with multiple units for those calls. Yep. Yep.
That would be terrible if they all put.
And that's an
Better
interesting.
hope they don't catch fire the next couple of days.
Yeah.
It would be terrible. But
Yeah.
anyway.
No, we have a plan in place. Someone did call, and I didn't mention this because it was the easy solution, but, and I think it was one of the boaters, wanted to know if I would give permit to build a bonfire on Cat Island. That's that little island right out there. So you can't. It's a nature preserve, just in case anyone asks. You cannot.
Doesn't stop them, their bonfires out there all
Well,
the
we
time.
don't own the property, right?
Right.
Either, so thank God.
But yeah, it's illegal to burn on a preserve, so
All
anyway.
right.
You look at the fire station, I included the aerial photo. I think you guys seen that both on Facebook.
Those are great photos.
But
Really good.
it's incredible, right? When you look at the scope of this project, I was blown away. On site, you realize it's big, but from the air, I mean, that's quite a feat. So, real proud of
Especially that
that.
retention wall, that's a piece of work. man.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did, where we're at in the project, so contract called for one meeting a month with the architect and the CM at Risk, the contractor. And we were doing 2 a month to make sure everything got rolling smooth. It seems to be, so we're gonna go to that once a month meeting on site with them. And then towards the end, we'll ramp it up as necessary. They agreed to do that. So I think we're in a good spot with where things are now. You can see the walls are going up. We're gonna go to once a month on-site meetings.
Everything's on target as far as,
It is. Last meeting it was. I know last week we had more rain than we've had in a while.
Yeah.
And I noticed a couple days, I drive by almost every day, we had a little less activity when it was raining. So we'll get an update. But they seem to be, we got real lucky with the large pores of the floor in the base was done in good weather. So I think that was a huge key to keeping it on track.
What amazes me driving by is how much reinforcing is in the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Big part of the walls.
Yeah. So it'll be a Cat 5 rated building, so it's no joke. This is a 157 mile an hour rating on this building. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of solid pour, a lot of rebar.
I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
out of town.
Out of the city.
Out of town, far away,
Far away.
far
that,
away.
yeah, so.
great, it's great.
Good.
And then did a little bit of just, this was what, Friday I sent this one, and you guys can see today, we've got like 3 tropical storms out there. Luckily, nothing is going to be a direct threat to us at this point, but the reminder to everyone, it's that time of year, September, is that busy time of year, so be prepared. That's the message there. If I may, can I talk a little bit about the ALS agreement amendment that you guys are gonna, is on the agenda for, is this a acceptable time, Carly, to talk about that?
That, yeah,
Okay,
it's okay with them.
yeah. So, 3% cap, right? They do this every year. Jim can attest to this. We usually do a 5-year contract with the county for advanced life support first responder agreement. You know, our rescue is basically funded by the county, 100%. We are limited to a 3% increase each year under that contract. When you have a labor agreement and you do raises and things like that, you can't keep it under that 3% contract. The math just doesn't work. So what we usually do is put in for an amendment and they grant that and we get the additional money. So this year what we've asked for is a 10.8% increase in budget for Rescue 20 and the personnel that staff that vehicle. And they agreed. When I saw the agreement though, there was a couple things new that aren't in the current contract. One is a really non-issue because they are going to fund it, and that is through countywide. They're going to do a new traffic preemption system. So in other words, if you get a call, the idea is there's a piece of equipment on the vehicle that would change the traffic lights to make it safer to travel. They did put in the contract that would be funded and maintained by them, so really no issue with that. The question came up when they added in Section 5. Section 5 has to do with the county 911 computer-aided dispatch system that is in the process of being, the current system's going to go away. That system was originally developed in the 80s. It's worked well over the years. It's been developed in-house. The code has been built in-house. They're afraid that as we grow with that, the people who are able to maintain such a system, right, are going to be less and less, and who maintains the system. So there was a large procurement procedure done countywide. They developed a board called the Prime Group, brought in all these agencies, and ended up picking a company called Hexagon. Hexagon is going to develop our new computer-aided dispatch system moving forward. It's a off-the-shelf software package that can be customized for the county. Because Hexagon is a combined police and fire CAD system, there's going to be an additional background check requirement for firefighter paramedics. And the reason being, the way it's explained to me, there could be something in the note field that is like a police type information that normally you have to have a extensive background clearance to see. So countywide, all fire department personnel are going to have to go what's through called a CJIS Level 2, a Criminal Justice Information Services, Level 2 clearance. We believe we should be fine because of the background checks we do when the people are hired, but there is a chance that this more thorough search could find something that wasn't available when we did our
Something that happened in between, after the initial?
No,
usually so they would have to report to us if something happens after they're hired, right? So that could, I would be surprised.
maybe older data?
It could be older stuff. It could be older stuff. Most likely it'd be older stuff. It'd be out-of-state stuff. Most things are put through the agency for secondary review, and they can say, not a big deal, carry on. There are those few instances, and there's been some trial stuff done at larger departments where you have, that one-off. And then you would have to figure out how that person does the job without seeing the notes on the CAD system. And what this does is says that we would be responsible for making sure if they don't pass the CJIS clearance, they don't. It's not the computer in the station.
So does everybody get to see that? Is that what you're saying? It's all open to anybody to look?
See what?
See any of that information?
The report.
The report?
It's not a report, it's a live computer screen as you're going to the call.
So who gets to go on there and look?
Whoever's CJIS clear.
So a firefighter could go on and look?
Typically, it's the company officer,
Okay.
right? Because the computer's in the front seat facing them. Yeah, or in the rescue, it would be the paramedic, because the driver's driving, the
So-
computer's facing.
Technically, everybody.
Right, because of our
Because they
rotation,
rotate.
technically, everybody. So what that would do in our case, if we had an issue, it would affect the rotation to where we would have to figure out how that person continues working, right? Because they're already hired, and this was a pre-hire requirement that they don't have access to that computer.
Give me an example of what would it be that would cause them not to pass? I mean, is it a criminal thing?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
A criminal,
So-
a felony?
It would have to be something very, significant, right? Felony drug trafficking, something like that. And how it slipped through in the first place, then we'd have to try to figure that out. It's gonna require, if it happens, it's gonna require some work on our part to look into it, make some decisions, what we do. But it can be all over the place, so I don't wanna speculate too much. Like I said,
But I mean, you would get to look at all of that before anybody else got to look at all of that.
first the police would look at it
Police would look at it.
and make a decision, are they CJIS level 2 cleared or not? If they're not, we can appeal. If it comes back again, right? It's, yeah,
It would seem like in software, you could limit who can see that based on,
we asked that question, right? Because,
that's the simplest.
That's what we all
Yeah,
keep saying.
yeah.
It's like, we're just saying that.
and we've been told no, no.
Everything's
I'm like, I don't understand it either.
It's got some
They'll
programmers
be
that don't
checking
want
us
to change.
next.
Because,
And then
probably
they're in
because of the
trouble.
cost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see, because it's, like I said, there's agencies that have a much larger pool of people that I think are gonna have a much better chance of statistically, maybe they have more people. So what do we do once we start, then does it become, okay, we need to fix the system? Right now, they're telling us, no, that's not an option, but, I don't see how it's not.
I don't think anything would have shown up already that would be detrimental to this. I don't think we might be overthinking it. It's just, we'll see what happens. That's all you can do,
My
right?
understanding is if you had a charge, right, and it was never, that something could pop up, and then this review board who does this through the CJIS looks at that, and,
And especially however far back they go,
Yeah.
Or if
into
you had
something like that.
If you had something expunged,
Yeah.
this more in-depth search pulls that. So something
the
that we
expunged
wouldn't see because it's been expunged,
Yeah.
this will show.
Oh,
So it's more in-depth than the one that we,
has anybody resigned yet?
the one that we do.
And if you were in high school and you stole some clothing and, did some community service and had it, like, if that kind of thing popped up, the CJIS board is not gonna say, well, you can't see the computer because you stole a pair of shoes when you were 16, right? It'll pop up, but it's not gonna cause any issue for us. But if there was something, there are, I guess, a few instances
The
where.
thing I worry about is like the early drug charges on anybody, maybe had a bag of pot or something like that. Not that that's a good thing, but those kind of things can really wreck your life.
Yeah, my understanding is that wouldn't be enough,
That wouldn't be enough.
unless you had a boat full. You were coming from another country or something.
And it's hard enough to hire these people and get good people, and to go back into the history of that to me is just too much. But anyway.
It just
Oh, well,
should
it is
only
what
be
it is. What are we
available
gonna
to
do?
people that it needs to be available
Well,
to.
that's
and
what
not
I
to
think.
everybody. It's
I mean, it
simple
ought to
as
be, I think it should be available to you and nobody else. I don't know. Whatever.
And then we'll also, with this, 75% of DC's new car would be paid for.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's our EMS chief, so, and, no, it's the same as mine, a Ford Explorer. We did
What
go
is-
ahead and
Oh,
we submitted the PO, the order, you probably know the technology better if I submitted the order. Bank is not open
Order
yet,
bank's not open yet, yeah.
but,
They're opening up next week, I think.
yeah, so they said if we got on the PO, we would be one of the first ones in that order bank, because right now, like everything else, people are putting in for cars in budget years and then not getting them in that budget year. So, yeah. Fun.
Millions of dollars in backlog of business that's never gonna get built.
So that was a lot.
Did you go through Alan J?
We did.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Christie South, yep. Any other questions? We covered a lot, right?
Good.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, chief.
All right. We want to see Terry now. CID. Good morning.
How's everybody today?
smile.
So,
Fine.
I have to tell you, we stopped by the Forerunner booth at the Florida League of Cities Conference, and I told everybody there that seemed to know you that they need to make sure you get your Christmas cookies to them every year. That they were the best cookies ever.
You get what?
Christmas cookies,
Oh,
to all the Forerunner people, because
they
they
had
love
nice
you.
things to say about you.
Oh, yes,
They've been
yes.
great
Great
to work
representation of the city. They were just, you're like the best to work with.
Yeah, they really did.
Some.
Yes.
I like to hear that.
So,
Actually, they sent one of the founders, Susanna, and a lady named Michelle came last week and sat down with us, and they did a setup presentation and asked questions, and made some tweaks to it for us, and so we should be going, it should be going on the website soon. We're ready. They just sent me the marketing material on Thursday, so we can ramp it up and get it started, but we're swarming with Energov right now, so trying to get both up and going at the same time is a little bit of a challenge. Forerunner is so much easier, though, so we're very pleased with that.
Great.
And you have my report. Did you have questions about my report?
Scooter shop moving along.
They are, so.
Where are they going? Are they over
Old Subway.
the old subway? That's what I thought.
Not the deal down there.
Yeah.
They
Whatever.
were there with Bobcat the other day and getting that going. So, and it's a very small building, so it shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, no, I looked them up online. It looks like a very nice looking building.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just drive through on both sides, and one of them I saw had some tables out front. I don't know if this one's gonna have it or not, but,
Not part of the.
some did, some
plan
didn't in the
they made.
pictures. Yeah. Well, I was surprised that Kelly said tables out front. I guess I didn't, when
They have
I,
a patio.
yeah, and that was kinda nice.
I didn't know if those were being staged to take inside or, you know, I mean, they're still out, because they're not open for a month, but it's like, that's pretty nice.
No, they are, they do have a little patio. They did finish the turn lane that they were required to do by FDOT. That is not something
well,
that the
yeah.
city required, so I've gotten questions about it, but it's,
I
That is
can't
a-
cut over when the light is
Sorry.
along either. It's okay. I'll find
No more
another
U-turn.
way.
so that was an FDOT requirement, which is kind of what pushed things, because they were hoping to open the end of August. And they made them do it at night and couldn't do it during the day, so they had a whole bunch of requirements set in place for them to do that. And the rain got them and pushed them back a little bit,
I
so.
read an article in the news recently and something about the first 2 weeks of September they're thinking about opening, but
Yeah, I
see
spoke
how it
to
goes.
the contractor yesterday. He said their tentative date is September 12th. So we're hoping, Carly has all the contact information for the gentleman who's kind of spearheads that part of it. The contractor kind of steps aside once the building's done. So I told him that you guys were probably interested in any grand opening celebrations that they have. So they're aware.
Perfect.
So hopefully by the middle of next month, we'll have that going. And
Has Marine Max started to put in their gasoline thing? No, huh?
no, I haven't gotten any permit applications yet.
Isn't that funny? They were so anxious, I would have
I
thought.
think they had to finish that clean marina.
Yes, they have to do all
process. They still had some prep work and
Okay.
they still have to go to some other agencies and stuff.
Yes.
So it's got to bounce around a little bit.
It'll take them a
Yeah.
And then we just finished our mapping portion for Energo. It is, that's where all the old data comes over and we have to tell it where to go in the new data. So it was about 32,000 items that we had to map. So we just finished that portion. We are now in testing. We've been doing that for about a week and a half. And just going in and pretending like we're creating permits and creating licenses and doing all kind of stuff, and we're breaking it
in the
and
playground.
sending it to them. Yes. So we're working through that. Next week we begin the end user training, and that will be 4 hours a day for 5 days, along with our testing. And then the week of September 6th, we will be all the conversion will take place from IMS to Tyler. At that point, we can't get into IMS anymore, and we can't get into Tyler yet. So it will be 1 week of nothing being put in the new system, nothing being put in the old system, unless we have to do it twice. So we're going to work through that. And then the week of September 10th, we will be going live. Fingers crossed, all of this stuff for the next 2 weeks goes well.
Great.
So we are
I know these things are crazy.
breathing is what we're doing right now. It's a lot. So we are working through that.
Looks good. I mean, you've got new businesses coming in,
Got a few new.
Psalms going.
Where is that? 1206 Pasadena Avenue.
1206 is on the Gulfport side. And it is.
It's inside the plaza over there, Walmart Plaza?
No.
No, that would be a suite number, right?
It
It's
looks
in
like
that
it's
little
over
strip
by,
mall by Dunkin' Donuts?
Looks like it's by Papa John's.
Where?
1206 Pasadena. It's that little.
Psalms Gourmet
Psalms
Confection.
Oh yeah, it's in the little strip mall.
Was a little vitamin health food store used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
That little
yeah,
strip
that's
mall.
been empty a long time. Great, it's great.
Gourmet confection.
Yes, on the other side of Dunkin' Donuts.
Is that next to the new smoke
South
shop
of Dunkin' Donuts.
that's being put in there too? Smoke shop?
There's like a laundromat.
I know when we drove by yesterday, I noticed where they used to have that little vitamin thing next to the laundromat. It was
Yeah.
like it said, CBD and
Smoke shop zone.
smoke supplies. And
Yes, I believe it
so I
is.
think it's right there
Shopping
probably
center.
with that. There was another one on the end.
Right.
Okay. All right. Guess that's all we got. Anybody got anything?
Good,
Nope.
good.
No other questions?
Good.
I have sent.
You got stuff for us, all right.
One contractor to the Pinellas County Construction Licensing Board in trying to clean up all of our expired permits. One stood out tremendously. So we had one contractor that had 70 open permits. So I sent them to PCCLB, and hopefully we will be getting that resolved. They have a standard rule if they find them guilty, which is kind of obvious. They have a $500 fine per permit,
I got a problem.
and they have to pay our $100 per permit. So hopefully we will be getting that soon.
Why would they have so many?
I sent them, they just don't close them.
They don't-
And then we've sent them letters telling them that they need to close them. We've contacted them every time they apply for a new permit. We tell them they have all these open
Let's move on to
permits.
the next job and they just,
Move on and they don't
There's
close
just
them.
one contractor that's doing this.
Yes. Most of the other ones are 1 or 2 permits that, either they failed their final inspection and never called it back in, or, something silly. But this one was 70, I think it was 77 permits that were open. So,
Big money.
and when I said that at one of our building official roundtables, Largo went, ours are well over 400 for a bunch of different.
Same group.
Same, yeah. So we're small potatoes.
Do you red flag a group like that? Like if people are,
We can't legally.
you can't?
No. No, the state says we cannot hold up permits for anybody, even if they have open permits, we can't do anything about it.
Really?
But PCCLB can,
Wow.
and they will.
Sounds like they're gonna get it this
They will
time.
take care of it within a certain amount of time, so it should be taken care of shortly.
with that 400 there and 77 here.
And God knows how many every other place, right? I
Right,
mean,
because that was just 2
Usually,
cities.
that's just 2 cities.
Yep. And they do.
Well, it's just ridiculous if we're gonna get that far anyway.
And I only went back 6 years, because that's as far as the governor allows us to go back 6 years. Anything beyond 6 years, we could close out, so I only went back 6 years in our data, so.
Wow.
Questions?
And then I know you've been catching up on a lot of your permit stuff, so.
We have been, we're down to, went from 480 contractors, we're down to 230. We're getting there.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
All
Well,
right, give this back to Sean.
we've got the admin.
My turn. So I have questions for you all, but do you want to go, you want to ask me, or you want me to ask you first?
Why don't you do your questions first?
Okay, so we'll jump to the end real quick.